Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to another edition of this dynamic program, Full Disclosure, here on Tobago Updates. I am your host, Secretary Terrence Baines, and we have been having some fantastic conversations since we started. It is our view that this is a very useful program. This medium is a useful tool. There are so many inaccuracies that are in and around this space, and it is an opportunity for us to kind of put the information in the space for those who so desire, try to get the truth out there. Notwithstanding, it's been a healthy program as well, even for us as executive members, as we come to talk about what's happening with us personally, what's happening with us in the divisions and happening in the districts as well. And so we are very glad that we have another opportunity. This is our first program for the year 2023, and we are thankful that God has kept us and we have this opportunity. Again, we want to thank the management of Tobago Updates for affording us this privilege as we go forward. One of the things that fascinates me in this whole mix is in this governance landscape that we have been privileged to be a part of in the last year or so. We have some of the most dynamic, hard-working women in the team, and I defy anybody to refute that. Tonight, we have one of these ladies, who works tirelessly. When she was given the responsibility, just kind of jumped in and just took a hold with both hands, and I've been running ever since. And I speak about none other than my dear friend and secretary that has one of the longest names, food security and fisheries and the environment. I'm sure I don't have it in the right order, but she will put it in the right order. Secretary Nathisha Pantin. Good night, ma'am.
Good evening, Secretary Baines.
How are you?
I am okay. I'm loving the shirt.
Yes.
I think I'm in a breadfruit field right now, in some forested area, and that is exactly what my division is about. So I'm sure you wore that T-shirt because I didn't think about it.
I didn't think about it, but I get you. We are so happy to have you here on the show tonight. I know it's been a hectic season. In fact, the entire year has been hectic for you. The amount of work that you have been doing, you and Secretary Tate there at the division and so on. And I am just really, really dripping with excitement to enter into the conversation with you tonight. I trust that your season was a good one and so on. You look quite spliffy.
Thank you.
You understand? So I want to jump right in, Sec. One of the things that I so appreciated. I remember when you invited us, members of the executive, to the launch of, I believe it was World Food Day, and so on, and the several things that happened on that day, the many orations that we listened to about the importance of food security and the importance of trying to get as many persons involved, get them certified, get them in the know as to what is taking place on the landscape and so on. And one of the things that stood out to me is the initiative, the Food Box Initiative.
Yes.
And I must say that the the people of Bethel New Grange were very appreciative that we were able to add to the other things that we were doing to give these food boxes to members of the community. So I want us to publicly say again, thank you so much for that initiative. I believe I speak for other members of the executive as well. So let's talk a little bit about that and how you felt about that particular program, what has been happening and going forward. What are your thoughts on the Food Box Initiative?
Well, the Food Box Initiative was rolled out by the Tobago Agribusiness Development Company, TADCO, which is really a company that is profit-driven. And, you know, they have to focus on standards and, you know, setting, you know, that product line, developing that product line that would reach the international market, right? The regional market as well. But, of course, we can't forget our local people.
Yes.
And one of the initiatives that was rolled out by TADCO was the Poultry Contract Farming Initiative, where they are currently giving chicks and feed for free, and then the company will buy back the chickens from the farmers. And those chickens were placed into the food box. So we were trying to promote the local chicken. Right? And we supported several agro-processors in that. So the cassava mash, if that was in the box, the cassava flour, a lot of items in the box, they came from Tobago. And there was a lot of information out there that everything in the box came from Trinidad. And that was very interesting because in that propaganda, you're basically ostracizing your Tobago agro-processors and, you know, and poultry farmers. So you see the dangers of propaganda.
Indeed.
Right? And let me tell you something. When you buy macaroni, sugar, you know, ibis flour, where are all these products coming from? Right? So the idea is that, you know, TADCO doesn't sell flour and sugar and macaroni, right? The idea is to promote local products, and that is what TADCO tried to do in conjunction with Novo. So, I mean, you know.
I mean, and I was saddened as well by the it seems to me, Secretary, that we're in a season, in a time where a lot of information, inaccurate information at that, is put in the space, and people just gravitate to it sometimes and add fuel a conversation without even checking the veracity of the information and so on. And I mean, it seems like it's something we have no control over. And the more we try to put information, it seems to me that people just decide that they will believe the lie, they will believe the you know, and so on. And it can be very, very frustrating, but we have a responsibility, obviously, to try and put the information there. And again, I want to reiterate that I think that the initiative was one of significant benefit to the population in Tobago. And all the products in there being indigenous.
Yes, cassava bread.
Yes.
Right out of Pembroke.
Yes.
Right, that was in the food box. I mean, we have so many products already on the market. The cassava fruit cake, that is a bestseller right now. Actually, I'm hoping that we could meet the demands. Right? You're having, you know, request 2,000 fruit cakes at a time, and you know, it was really exciting over the Christmas to see how much Tobago wine, being ordered from, you know, Tobago, from Trinidadians, right? So Tobagonians were the ones benefiting from these initiatives.
Indeed. And I have to say that in terms of indigenous Tobago products, that the work of TADCO and the division has been shining a light kind of really bright on indigenous Tobago products that I have not seen in quite some time. In fact, I don't even know, going back in my mind, looking at the division of agriculture, food security, fisheries, and so on, punctuated with so much work in such a short period of time. I mean, we'll get to that. I don't want to run ahead of myself and so on. But I just wanted to start out with that conversation because I think it was a significant initiative. What is your intention with that initiative? Is it that is something that you're going to revisit and it's going to be done another time in this coming year? What's it?
Okay, so the Food Box initiative will continue for 1 year. So it started in December and it will continue for 1 year.
Okay.
And at the end of the year, we will be looking at, all the records that were kept. The constituency offices were asked to take records of all those persons who would have benefited from the Food Box. And then we're going to look at, all those descriptive information about, who qualified for the Food Box and look at it and see how best we can improve on it, or if it is needed at all, if it provided support. And I could tell you from my district, certainly there were individuals who needed those boxes. So once people they are in need, we are committed to continue providing that support until they can get off their feet. Right.
And certainly it seems to me, even from the conference that you invited us to, apart from the projections of some of the speeches, the data that was given to us, we got a sense of where food security is globally.
Correct.
And by extension, what's happening to us here and so on. Going in further, what is your sense on agriculture in general in Tobago since you took the helm? What's your feeling?
Well, no significant investment was made in agriculture. It was obvious even before COVID. And basically we tried to jumpstart everything in 1 year. And I want to commend all my technical officers, all the field officers. They have done an excellent job in 1 year across the department. But it is a work in progress. You won't have everyone supporting you. Let's put it like that. Yes. But for those who heeded to the call of the competent and willing, those who wanted to show their children that I want to be part of something bigger, knowing the direction that we're heading. 2023, we expected worldwide we're going to end up in a depression, a recession, actually. And of course, if you want to be part of the bigger picture, you as a technical officer, as an individual in Tobago contributing to food security, that is something that you should be proud of to show and explain to your children why you have you became part of that competent and willing team, willing to take Tobago forward.
Yes.
Right? And of course, we have to touch on the capital of paradise. We can't miss that out.
And I was coming to that. I say I'm progressing, I'm climbing gradually. But as you gave that perspective, from your interface and interaction with farmers and so on, agro processors and so on in Tobago, what is your sense of their buy-in, enthusiasm, optimism, and all of that as to what is happening now with the division and so on? What's your sense?
So we have farmers coming on board gradually, and I can understand why. Since 2009, Dr. Anselm London embarked on his vision of establishing, Tobago as, the food basket under several companies. The cassava company was one. And now we're in 2023. And you could imagine how disenchanted a lot of the farmers would be. A lot of them wouldn't want to come to consultations because they have been coming to consultations for years.
Right.
And, gradually getting them into these programs, those who actually attend, they are pleased. But I have to say that we have to continue working with the farmers for them to understand where we're heading, and we're serious about agriculture. If you gave another administration 21 years, and you only gave us 1 year and we achieved so much, then if you come on board, you just might, one day see something happening. So it's unfair to say, I fed up coming on, to consultation. It's unfair because we only had 1 year.
Right. And I mean, it even is reflective of the damage that could be done
psychologically.
From negatives and so on. And because we even find in conversations that people attribute to us, because we are now in the seat of governance and so on, some pitfalls and flaws to the other regime. So we are pretty much class as the people in governance and so on. And some of the things we have no reference in. Those things didn't fall under our purview. But I think the reason why I'm asking those questions is because I see the kind of work that the division has been doing, the kind of impact in my mind that has been made on the general landscape of the division, those things that fall under the purview of the division. And human beings are very difficult to change as it relates to behavior and so on. And weighing that against, sometimes you wonder if there is a concerted effort to try and undermine or damage that which is good, because the bad has prevailed so long.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
But as we go in further, I have been privileged to go to the Lur estate, that trip and so on, and of course I've been to World Food Days in times past and that kind of thing, and some of the other things that the division has been. And I have to confess, bias or not, that I have a different appreciation for these things now, because I actually kind of see the philosophy behind from the conference. You understand? That is the point of reference and the things that the division has been doing. How do you keep doing all these things? Every morning you're doing something, you're opening something, you're somewhere and so on. How do you keep pace?
I don't know. I ask myself the same thing.
Yes.
No, I'm always trying to come up with creative ways, creative means of, exploring what Tobago has to offer. And I'll tell you something. We had 140 acres plus sitting in Lur, a gold mine.
Yes.
Right? A gold mine, sorry.
Yes.
Right? Of heritage, of history. Right? And we have left it to, basically grow up with shrubs and bushes under the cocoa, right?
Yes.
So I said to myself, look, after we came from Grenada and we saw all, that heritage, the rich heritage, the chocolate being made, and, the fields are productive, even though the cocoa trees are over 100 years old. I said, look, we have the same thing in Tobago. Why can't we explore what we have here?
Right.
And I'll tell you something. When I attended their festival, their chocolate festival, it was remarkable. It was such an experience. I knew that we could do something similar in Tobago. And immediately after I came back, I gave the mandate to the Division of Agriculture in conjunction with the Reforestation Company, and they produced an excellent product.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Tamika Seals, the Director of Crops, she was a chairman, and she did an excellent job with her team. And this product surfaced, and they wanted the executive especially to experience it, to see the value of the area and how we could develop it further. Right? So there's the waterfall, the local cuisines, dancing the cocoa, and we also brought back the fields into production. Right? The Ministry of Agriculture in Trinidad, they came across, they trained the officers and how to bring back the fields into production. So it was an entire effort to just resuscitate the agro-ecotourism industry under our division. And we're going to continue it because the food hub is just another one. Agro-ecotourism.
Indeed.
Right? And then we're going to have another one, hopefully, the Main Rich Forest Fitness Challenge. And then we're going to build another one, right? So we're building several ecotourism products. And I'll tell you something.
Yes.
In my mind, I'm thinking, when the cruise ships come in, And the agents should already have packages of what the tourists want to experience across Tobago. And, you know, they'll be able to contact, whether it's TADCO, whether it's reforestation or whatever entity that managing these experiences. And the tourists will automatically go to the buses and go to the sites. Right now, we really don't, we're not exploring the potential of Tobago. Our natural heritage is what international tourists want to experience. And we have to start focusing more on that, on what we have to offer in terms of history and in terms of our natural vegetation. Even bird watching. We should have another bird conference. We could make a lot of money from having bird conferences every year. So that's something we have to look at. We have to start monetizing our natural assets. Right? Agriculture don't have a lot of money, but we can make a lot of money to support the sector once we start monetizing.
And I mean, our import food bill is astronomical. So clearly, if we are able to bring up our local production and engage the population, that is going to significantly bring down the food bill, and we will have more money to do other things.
Correct. And the farmers can benefit as well. People want to experience what a farm has to offer, a farm experience. Tourists want to come on your farm and pick an orange, you know, and have a natural smoothie. These are the things that people pay big money to see, right? Look at the product in Castara. There's no sky-rise building and, you know, the fine. People want to eat lobster by the beach and look and dance around the bonfire.
The Castara people have been very, very unique and upward thinking and so on in their own indigenous way. How they produce their own product, their tourism product over there. You know, and it's a model thing. And you know, as we were talking about the cocoa and the experience in Grenada and so on, I mean, over the years we have been hearing that the quality of cocoa that is produced in Tobago is second to none.
Correct, Trinitario, correct.
And there are several cocoa fields that are lying unattended around the island and so on. And so, I mean, it's 1 year, and we don't want to be over ambitious, but at the same time, I think a tremendous amount of work has been done, and the lessons in the minds of people, because like for me, coming to the conference, to the event that you invited us, going to the experience, that helped me to become a little more sharp and in tune with what is taken. And I suspect that is applicable for other people across the island. I think that because, as you said earlier, there was no dedicated effort to resuscitate agriculture in Tobago and so on, that we kind of suffering from that now. And I'm very happy that you are at the helm, the kind of work that you guys have been doing and so on. And that can only augur well for us in Tobago and farmers and that kind of thing.
And I want you to point out specifically that we did it without millions of dollars being spent.
Yes.
Millions of dollars. If I had $36 million that they spent on the Scarborough market, I would do so much under agriculture.
I'm telling you. And it is numbing sometimes when you try to assess and to reflect on some of the value for money things that you see around that has happened and so on. And I mean, without blowing your own trumpet, I am thankful for a new governance landscape on the island of Tobago with new opportunities, a new way of doing things and so on. We know that we don't get all the financing that we would like to get, but we are discovering that we can do much more if we are more prudent in the management and so on. And yes, when I see what you all have been doing in 1 year, and the resources are limited all around, you understand? One only can imagine when the goodly Secretary for Finance and so on, and by the way, congratulations are in order to the Honorable Chief Secretary and his dear wife, and so on, and they have a a baby girl, and we are thankful. We are thankful to God for safe delivery and all that.
Another flower to the flower garden.
Indeed, 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 indeed. We have to call him Father. Yes. Father Fally.
Father Fally.
Yes, yes. So we happy about that and so on. One of the things that I really commend the Chief Secretary for is his decision to put these teams together, put secretary and assistant secretary with different kinds of skill sets, but dynamic enough to create one of the best synergies that I have seen. You and Assistant Secretary Tate have an amazing kind of thing going. You have a good thing going.
Correct. Two Leos.
Yes. Oh, I didn't even know that. You understand? So I want to talk about his work. And we're going to start there at the capital of Paradise. Yes. A boat that seemed to have gone into the Bermuda Triangle, as it were.
Correct.
Correct. For some time, and thankfully, yes. Tate, Assistant Secretary Tate, his work and with the support of the division and so on, we have the capital. And you wonder, you said the time this vessel was purchased, what we were told that the vessel was purchased for, and all that kind of thing. And you say in such a short space of time, we were able to find the vessel, do some refurbishment, have the vessel actually doing something. You have to say, but what could have been the problem?
I remember assuming office, and one of the first assignments I gave to Mr. Tate was to go down to Trinidad and let us look at the capital of Paradise. Nothing was done at that time, right? So forget about all the nonsense you're hearing, right? And TADCO took charge. I mean, we gave the responsibility to Mr. Ricardo Alfred, the maritime surveyor, and he would have done an excellent job with his team at TADCO. And they moved the capital of Paradise from making about $12,000 in tuna, yellowfin tuna, to $43,000. And today they have made $1.2 million just from exporting yellowfin tuna.
Right. And that has to be a significant. When last you hear about something, some kind of profit around any agency in it, as a matter of fact.
$1.2 million TT dollars.
I am sure most sensible thinking Tobagoans will be appreciative of the work that has been done with the capital of Paradise, the philosophy of its operation, and so on. I've heard Mr. Tate on several occasions reiterating what the capital of Paradise is doing, and its operational philosophy and so on.
Yes.
As a Tobagoan, I am very I feel very proud.
Yes. You know, I am even more proud than you because the captain of the capital of Paradise, Mr. Ellis, he's from Mason Hall, and Mason Hall don't have no sea. So just imagine the captain coming out of Mason Hall, no sea, and he's one of the best captains. You know, he speaks his Japanese fluently. I'm impressed by Captain Ellis.
Oh my! Well, I didn't know this. I no one. Well, I have to call on Assistant Secretary Megan Morrison, because we have been talking about providing a body of water for Mason Hall at some point. So we have to get to that. And you know why one of the reasons I'm excited too about it is because most of us thought the capital of Paradise was finished with, you know. We thought it was scrap metal somewhere. You know, and surprised to know that the vessel, you know, with some work still could be seaworthy and also be a profitable enterprise for us here in Tobago.
And I am so grateful to have Mr. Alfred on the team.
Yes.
Mr. Alfred contributes a lot and gets zero from us. As the chairman of TADCO, you don't make a lot of money. It's just a stipend, really. It's like an honorarium, right? And one phone call could cost you about a little over $100 US, just to the capital of Paradise. So by the time he finished, probably in a week, just staying in contact with the guys out there, he gets no money.
Right.
But he is part of that team of the competent and the willing that just wants to do something for Tobago. Right? So I applaud him and his team for all the work that they would have done.
And I agree. I mean, I know Mr. Alfred in another in another dispensation,
Yes.
in another place, and so on. And so I know his work ethic and all of that. So when I passed down at the division's headquarters and so on, I see a fleet of vehicles and so on and that kind of thing. And I'm again impressed, encouraged, knowing that resources are short. But what? So tell me about the fleet, what we have down there, and what are the immediate needs for those bits of equipment and so on.
Okay, so the bucket truck is available. So if you're in need of a bucket truck, you can rent the bucket truck from the division.
Yes.
Right.
And by the way, we used it, I believe, today. I think we should have used it today.
Right. Yes. So the bucket truck is available. The other trucks, the other tractors, right? The insurance also started the 1st of January. So the officers will be utilizing them from Monday coming. Right, we didn't get all the implements from Trinidad, but we're going to continue with the implements that we have, right? But I'm going to assign a tractor or two to TADCO. So the division will have 5 new tractors, but TADCO will have 1 new tractor.
Okay.
Why? Because TADCO farmers, because it's a profit-driven entity, their farmers need immediate relief, right? So you're going to see TADCO farmers getting service as well as general service under the division. So generally, the division would have about 6 or 7 available to service all the farmers, but TADCO would only have 2.
Okay.
Right. So if a farmer, if the neighboring farmer, you see a tractor and you on the list to get service, but you see a farmer getting service before you, don't assume that he jumped the line. Right. That's because he's either involved in probably the root tuber program.
Right.
And once something is profit driven, you can't wait long. They need immediate Right, but the division will have an entire fleet of tractors available. The excavator, right, I believe the low boy, right, it takes a while to get the approval to get it on the road, right, but the excavator is ready, just need approval from the transport board, from the ministry, right, but the other vehicles, they are ready and up for rent.
I wanted to ask you, because over the years, we have made an assessment of the relationship that exists between divisions in the THA and similar ministries in Trinidad, and trying to crystallize a relationship to avoid, because there are some things that requires some collaboration on.
Correct.
You understand?
Correct.
And some things that fall obviously under the purview of central government and so on and that kind of thing.
Yes.
Tell me about the relationship between your division and the Ministry of Agriculture in Trinidad and so on, and what working things that may be taking place at present to boost what you're doing at the division.
Okay, the ministry would generally provide support in any area that we request.
Okay.
So, for example, if we have a breakout in terms of pests and disease, or any sort of technical advice we need, they will come up and do the training, plant health. They would provide the training. But we have a lot of problems in terms of funding, in terms of allocation. So if the ministry, they would have a program and they allocate money to it, we would want the allocation to come to Tobago, so that our technical officers could do the assessment and then decide if, how much of a grant that would be needed. But we don't have that power just yet. And we have written to the ministry, we have written to the those in the corridors of power to get those allocations, so that we don't have, our farmers don't have to depend on the technical officers in Trinidad to come up and do the assessment. Tobagonians could assess, we could assess our own farmers. So NAMDEFCO has a grant for $100,000. Now, we would hope that we would get the allocation so that we can give our farmers the $100,000 grant. But we don't have the allocation. It's still in Trinidad, and the assessment has to be done by Trinidad. right? But I believe we could do that here. And there are several other things similar to that, that we would want to have in Tobago, right? But
yes,
again, you know how
yeah. I mean, yes, and because I know that you and your team have made several journeys to different places in Trinidad. Some of the ministry things and that kind of stuff, and I was just curious as to the yield of those journeys, because really and truly, if we could get away from this animosity that seems to exist, and the overbleeding and the machoism that sometimes seems to be demonstrated from some of the ministries in Trinidad, and you know that I think that we could get so much done and it will benefit the entire country.
Correct.
You understand? Correct. Because one of the things that a lot of persons from Trinidad complain about, especially when they come to Tobago for a weekend or whatever, is food prices.
Correct.
You understand? And obviously, if we can get that kind of synergy going, it is going to impact food prices in Tobago.
Correct.
I mean, we food prices have been like an albatross around our necks in Tobago and so on. But what are your projections and so on, if any, at this point, to impact food prices in the Tobago space? What's happening with?
So I'll use the Poultry Contract Farm Initiative, where we're giving the chicks and the feed for free, and then we're buying back the chicks from the farmers.
Right.
Now we are trying to get local chicken to be produced in Tobago. We're trying to keep the foreign chicken out of the market, and of course the price of the foreign chicken keep increasing. So if we could get to that point where our farmers could supply 250,000 chickens per month, then we would have achieved, that is the first step to food security.
Yes, I got you.
I got you. Up in the numbers.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So that is why we are gradually training the farmers on how to manage their poultry farms. So farmers would get 100, 500 chicks, and then now we're getting about 3,000, to distribute. So as we get the chicks, we're going to continue supplying. But of course, it'd be good to have your own hatchery here. So we're working on those things, step by step. We have a lot to do in terms of food security. We have a lot of equipment that lying idle for years. So we're going to try to bring, dust out all the dust and the mud and the trees that growing in between the equipment, and bring and utilize them towards, improving production on the island.
What kind of interest do you see generated by these initiatives, particularly? I mean, I don't know how many poultry farms that have around Tobago. In my mind, that you could almost, what you hear about, you could count it on one hand.
On one hand.
You understand? But I am sure the intention by these initiatives, obviously, is to engender more interest and get more people involved.
And create employment.
Yes.
And it has been successful. People are walking in every day asking about the Poultry Contract Farm Initiative. We have invested in training for some of our extension officers, because poultry is a specific science. Not anybody could, just start a poultry farm and be successful at it, right? And we're going to proceed to train our vets. As I said, it's a specific science, so all the vets wouldn't know, exactly what they have to do. And once we continue the investment, I think we can successfully produce our own chicken here. We're working towards producing alternative flowers, right, to export to the region, and it will be done in Tobago, right? We had a lot of challenges with what exists because of missing documents and contracts, and people trying to keep back the process. But we are getting ahead with the guidance of God, with the blessings of God. We have been getting ahead. And very soon we can boast and say that we have the first industry, right, in Tobago, the first flower factory, which Dr. Anselm London tried to embark on since 2009. So if we can bring that, achieve that this year, this quarter, I think we would have done an excellent job. And the technical officers, they will tell you, when I wake up, the first thing I'm talking about is how far we reach with this,
right,
how
right,
far we
right,
reach with
right,
that.
right.
Remember to do this.
Yes, yes, yes. I mean,
So,
I know there's a lot of
yes,
infrastructure around the island
yes,
as well, agriculture related and
yes,
so on, that have been, that resemble derelicts now. You
yes,
understand?
yes.
And I know there's been work done in trying to capitalize on some whatever can be capitalized on and so on. To try and maximize on what we're trying to do and get as many things happening as we need to support the drive of TADCO and so on. Talk about the where we are in terms of infrastructure, the kind of resource, how you manage with limited resource, with all the things that you're doing and that kind of stuff, and these things that are necessary to drive what you're trying to do at the division. Yeah.
Well, all of the agricultural stations are run down. We have a lot of repairs for all the fish facilities. It is impossible for us to refurbish all these rundown stations with what we have been allocated.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I was telling the farmers at Pembroke today that for development under agriculture, we were given 24 million.
Yes.
And out of the 24 million, 23,600,000 wages,
yes.
just wages.
Yes.
So that leaves us with what? $400,000. What can I do with $400,000? Right? And the chief secretary has recognized that, you know, agriculture, we need the injection of money to get some things going. So we have started to do a lot of refurbishment work across Tobago. So we could start as far as Palo Tuvia. We have started the first phase, and we have to do it in phases because of lack of funding.
Yes.
The Bloody Bay Orientation Center, we completed the first phase, right? It's 3 phases, we've completed the first phase, right? So we try to touch those facilities that need immediate repair, and that is how we'll have to manage our resources. We study part, there are 2 buildings. We try to, we pay the mobilization for one. The Barbados Bay facility, same thing. We had to do it in phases, so we sent out the tender for that. So we are trying to touch every, what you call it, especially those that I think that we could jumpstart the industry, like the Louis D'Or processing facility. We're about to try to fix that so that the local agro-processors could have somewhere to operate from, and their product could be of a certain standard. And I want to touch a bit about standards, because a farmer asked me today, Ms. Pantin, if I go to TADCO and I want to supply cassava, for example, but I don't want to sign no contract, right? So there's a fear of signing contracts, right? And, you know, I just want to give you the cassava, but I don't want no contract. Would you take it? And I said to him, you have to remember, if we're exporting flour, right, our buyers would want to have, to know what is happening on your farm.
Yes.
So you call it traceability, right? And the reason why we are engaging in contract is not only just to tell you how much money you're getting and how much cassava I want, but it's also to have that agreement in terms of, you know, TADCO would give you the training that you need, you know, to bring you up to standard, what type of fertilizers to use, to give you that guidance, so that from the farm to the table, our clients would know that, you know, we have some sort of traceability.
So it's not that afforded certain benefits as well.
Exactly. So, and you are guaranteed your money at the end of the day. It's a special purpose company. It's not a division where you have to wait until you get releases. And it's a special purpose company. So you know, you have a contract to supply a certain amount of cassava.
And you know, it's interesting that you're saying that you have a lot of our people in different areas that we are accustomed to ad hoc type operation, while like you are like I mean, we have a lot of people that are skilled, but they're just not certified in the skill.
Correct.
And that kind of thing. And I know that we are doing a lot to try and treat with that. But I am happy that the division is pushing that, so that more of our farmers can become certified and can benefit from whatever contracts afford, so that they can optimize what they're doing and so on, because this is the philosophy for us to get to a place of food security and to make the population become richer.
Yes.
You understand? And all of us know that no matter what you do, even if you're angry or sad, you still have to eat.
And that is why I don't politicize food security at all.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Food security will affect all of us.
Indeed.
In some way at some time.
Indeed,
right?
indeed,
Yes, I don't politicize food.
I wanted to jump back to fisheries because, I mean, I have looked at these fishing facilities around the island, and not just in Tobago. In Trinidad, there are some of the same challenges with the usability of the facilities and so on. And I've heard fishermen. I remember I was in Matlot and in Toko rather, looking at and that is one of the main fishing villages in Trinidad, and there was a brand new facility that they never really used. And so on. Also in Guayagari, I went there and saw some of the same things and so on. So is it that you could have a good idea but bad implementation? You understand? And so you're not able to maximize them. What are we going to do with those fishing facilities? Are we going to refurbish them and make them more user-friendly for the fishermen and so on?
Well, every fishing facility is unique in some way. Some could be used as a headquarters. Some could be used as perhaps a restaurant, for example. So you have the fishing being done downstairs, and then upstairs you could have dining. We have to look at each facility and see what it can offer, because currently we are just maintaining facilities, but we have no way of getting an income from it. So the division just put money every time just to refurbish. But if in consultation, if Secretary Tate, Assistant Secretary Tate, he can bring the associations together, bring the fishermen together, because we have a responsibility to the individual fishermen. So bring everyone together and come to an agreement where these facilities could be managed for profit, or managed for some sort of income, so they can benefit, as well as it eases the burden off of the division, so that we could invest in something else that they can benefit from, right? But if we continue just refurbishing, and then you come to ask for something else, we don't have the cash for it. Right. So if we can come to that understanding.
Yes, and I know we've had that conversation about the work he's been doing with trying to treat with these associations and so on. And fishermen, historically, they tell us, are not always the easiest group of persons to get to agree. I don't know whether that's true or not, but we've heard that and so on. But I really have confidence in Assistant Secretary Tate, though, in his ability and the work that he has been doing thus far. So I'm optimistic about that. And as I said, we really have to try and maximize on these things that we have,
and the use of this space.
Yes, we have to.
Because it's beachfront.
Yes,
and everybody know beachfront. People love to do activities.
Indeed.
People love to dine near the sea. People like to choose their fish or choose their lobster. And you could have it prepared. Like, we had to start thinking creatively. And I don't know. I probably have a mind that never sleeps. But I always think about, if I have this asset, how could I maximize its use, so that I could make something more from it? Yes. I mean, it's prime real estate across Tobago. Why just have it sitting there wasting when you could have a proper business proposal for it?
Yes. Let me ask this question as well. I don't know what kind of enthusiasm, engagement at the school level. I know that courses like agricultural science is taught in school and that kind of stuff. But from where you sit, what kind of engagement does the division have with the schools and so on? How dynamic is that engagement, and what are you seeing? How optimistic are you about the trying to sell agriculture to the children at the school and so on?
Okay, so I know almost every initiative that the division roll out, right? It rolls out. We try to involve the schools. We try to involve 4-H clubs, right? And for example, the poultry contract farm initiative, schools are involved. We give the chicks, the primary school children, and we teach them the skills and all of that. In terms of gardening, home gardening unit, they go to the schools as well. And very soon we're going to try to introduce technology into farming, hydroponics, and things that the children can use. That are modernized farming for them very soon. So we're looking at different initiatives to engage children to make agriculture sexy.
I like that. I like how that sounds. I like how that sounds.
Yes.
And now we have had a conversation in another place about the agroponics. Yes.
Yes.
And the different models and so on. And we've seen images, different things. I went to visit a friend in Trinidad, and I saw him he had this aquarium set up. And I guess the droppings from the fish is kind of recycled and serve as fertilizer for the thing. So it's have a whole system. I was impressed by it and realized that is something that has been done now, and so on. Talk about that initiative and the impact on that on the population. Yes, the schools, yes, but on the population, because remember we were saying that is something that can be installed in your veranda, for instance. And so on. Let's talk about it.
So we're going to purchase some hydroponic systems. They're very attractive systems. They look like little pods.
Yes.
And they come in different designs. And you can just plug it in, right? You put the water into the unit, and you put a timer, so you don't have to wet the lettuce or the pak choi every day, right? But the timer is set, and it wets it continuously, right? And of course you put your fertilizer into it, your granular fertilizer, environmentally fertilizer, and you can see your lettuce grow right in your gallery, your patio, right? Simply from
as for those of us who live in a concrete jungle.
You could get 50 and 100 lettuce. You just walk in your gallery while you wet your plants. You reap your lettuce and you carry it inside. Right? So we're trying to modernize farming, especially for people that have small spaces. Right? We recently had a small space competition under the home gardening unit. And if those officers, those technical officers come to your home and they see you maximizing your space, the use of your space to grow, vegetables, fruits, leafy vegetables. So the leafy vegetables would be what the hydroponics would be more fitting to.
Tell us what when you say leafy vegetable for the benefit of
lettuce and pak choi. Those are leafy vegetables. Yes, chives. Correct.
Can you do like sweet peppers and stuff?
Sweet peppers, yes, depending on the design of the hydroponic system, right? So some of them are standing, some of them, it depends on the design of it. So they'll be able to hold what you're planting in it. But definitely, when we roll it out, the population would understand the value of purchasing it. And I said it's very sexy. You walk out in your gallery and
I've seen it. I've seen it. So I'm in agreement. We've seen the sample. And I have a sense, when I saw when you gave us a demonstration, I feel that is something that will catch on in this society.
Yes, it will.
Well, primarily because of the kind of monies we pay for seasoning and chives and lettuce and those kinds of things. That you want. But because of its contribution to the aesthetics of your place as well, I think that will be another component. So I'm excited, and I want the public to know I have already ordered my unit and so on, and I will have a big demonstration when I'm planting my stuff and so on and things.
Well, I have my unit, but I'm in my constituency. I met a lady who had a restricted diet plan, and I said I would contribute mine to her. But I will get another one.
Sure. And we'll have to have some demo and so on, and see which secretary could probably plant the best thing. See who have a green thumb and who thumb dark or something like that. I'm excited. Tell me what else that may be on your mind, Secretary. I mean, you do so much. You guys do so much, so that I can't remember everything that you will. But there may be something else pertinent that you want for us to venture to talk about.
Okay. Yes. Well, I'm continuously looking at the division and seeing where I could monetize, activities to bring in some income. Right. When I look at the challenges that we're having. As I said, for development, 24 million, 23,600,000 wages. So I don't have money to do a lot of things. But once we start rolling out some special purpose companies, for example, because look at Tractor Pool. Tractor Pool, we can provide more services at Tractor Pool if we do, if we configure it a different way. Right? We have a lot of skilled labor. And, we could rent, as I said, we have a bucket truck to rent. So let me reiterate that if you need a bucket truck, we don't have one to rent. And, in doing so, we don't have to wait months to change a tire. Right? Months to repair a cracked windscreen. I'm seeing vehicles, I met vehicles just lying idle there. And I asked Secretary Tate to assist me in doing an assessment of some of the vehicles. And then when he brought back the report to me, he said, Secretary Pantin, we just have vehicles just sitting there, basic things to repair. And then when I questioned, why isn't this, why we have these things just lying idle? We don't have any money on that particular vote to fix. So once we start monetizing, we're able to continuously use these, the tractors that always breaking down. And, it's just for some simple things that we can't, we don't have money. So it would avoid some of the challenges. Right? I'm looking at all those unique features across Tobago and how we could monetize those features to bring in an income, ecotourism products across the entire island. And of course, I'm hoping that tourism would assist me in terms of marketing after I leave a trail of ecotourism products all around the island, because I don't have the money to do so. But I would make the initial investment, and hopefully tourism will get on board and run with them. But of course, Lur, you could see how exciting Lur has been.
Yes, I really enjoyed that.
And we could have a lot of experience. I know Mason Hall don't have no sea, but Mason Hall.
We'll get a body of water very soon.
We have a lot of history in Mason Hall. We have a lot of rivers. We have waterfalls. Right? So we can just look at the entire landscape. If we have Corbin Wildlife Farm. We have a wildlife farm in Mason Hall. And when I told my constituents, we have they were asking me, we should create a local zoo. I said, but we have one in the constituency.
I actually went to it myself.
And I did a field trip before, so I had to do a next one again, because more people don't know that we have a wildlife farm right in Tobago. So once we start, and that is the relevant, I'm seeing the relevance of plotting out these products, these experiences, so that when those tourist ships come, and they just see the dancing and the ballet and the drumming and the steel pan at the port, that is not all to it. We don't want them wandering, just wandering around Scarborough, wonder what they have in Tobago, and then they go back on the ship. They should already know, if they come to Bethel, what Bethel is known for, they should experience it in Bethel. When they go to Palo Tuve, what they can have, what they can experience. And that is where my mind is, to be honest.
I am again, I keep saying this is like my mantra for the night. I went to the food hub and I envisaged a place buzzing with activity and so on, and incidentally, the event that I did at the food hub in November, I have been doing events, gospel type events, for close to 3 decades. It was the most successful event I have ever done. You understand? And I thought, I was talking to some of my friends and so on, and we have some other ideas which we will, to kind of make the food hub become a thing. You understand? The food hub become a thing, because it is ideally located. You understand? The facilities are user friendly for what it represents and so on. And I know the kind of products that I saw, especially on that day and in some of the exhibitions that we've seen, World Food Day and so on, that the food hub have enormous potential.
Enormous potential, especially for agro-processors.
Yes.
But farmers as well. Don't just look at your farm as I'm growing something and I had to go by the roadside and sell.
Right.
Farm experience also sells. People want to come and see. There are tourists who never had a farm experience.
Yes.
They want to come into an orchard, for example.
Yes. Yes.
There are people who would come to see your local flowers. There are tourists who want to come and bird watch.
Yes. Yes.
And we just simply think, that's all we can do with what we have.
Yes. It's interesting. I went to Montego Bay about 7 years ago, and the driver of who was taking us around and so on said that there is a ganja tour, right?
Yes.
A ganja tour,
yes.
that they take people on and so on.
That targets a specific market.
Yes. So he was talking about some people from Europe who really appreciate the tour.
Europeans,
and so on.
correct.
So he was saying that they will, before they go on the tour, they will let them sample some of the cannabis.
Right.
And when the people come back from the tour, they will say they have not seen, it's first time they see miles and miles of when in truth and in fact it's just a little field from here to there.
Correct.
But the product was so much.
They get high. Yes. Correct. Yes,
So yes. I just remember it as you were saying that these stores, whatever the farm is, you understand, and there are people that really appreciate that, and that can be interwoven into the product.
And the narrative is important. People don't only want to sample chocolate.
Yes.
There's a story behind chocolate, right? Chocolate gets richer depending on the percentage.
Okay.
Right? You could sample different types of chocolate and have totally different experiences. You could sample it with different wines and it brings out different flavors in the chocolate. So there's a narrative in every product that you make. I am quite sure that you have had farine from different places across Tobago and not all the farine tastes the same.
Indeed.
So the story behind every product is important to the tourist.
Sure. You know, and I'm sure, and you hinted to it a while ago, that there would be some linkages, and must be linkages between your division and tourism and so on, because there are some of the products that are interwoven, I believe, and so on. And I also I'm impressed with so much with what Secretary Boris and they are doing on tourism as well. I think one of the reasons why I'm hyper excited is because I know that over the years there has never been any real dedicated approach to producing a tourism product in Tobago. You understand? So this subvention is like a double-edged sword.
Correct.
You understand what I'm saying? And so because we depend on that, we've never put much effort in trying to develop our indigenous thing, and that also applies even in agriculture.
Yes.
I mean, I've been fortunate enough to travel most of the English-speaking islands around the Caribbean, and most of them do not have half of the natural
what we have.
resource.
And I'll tell you another thing.
Yes.
Sports tourism, we could capitalize on that. I mean, environment falls under me. The main ridge is managed by the Department of Forestry under my division. But when I introduced the Main Ridge Forest Fitness Challenge, I merged sports tourism as part of the Main Ridge, right? You could walk, cycle across the Main Ridge, and we made it a challenge.
Yes.
And if we market it correctly, we can have fitness enthusiasts across the island and people coming in internationally to win prizes just to go over the oldest protected forest reserve in the Western Hemisphere. And when you finish crossing it, you could then go on bird watching trips.
Right.
You know how much money our local tour guides would make?
Yes. There is so much to so much to talk about. It's an exciting conversation. It's amazing how the time flies when you're talking sensible things. Understand? But Secretary, we kind of coming down to the end of the show and so on. And I mean, I am, like I said, just really encouraged by what is happening at the division with you at the helm. You support work of Assistant Secretary Tate and so on, I believe.
And a lot of the other leaders, Mr. James Trotman, Tamika Seals, all the leaders, right? The technical officers, the field workers, all who I call them the team of the competent and the willing. And I want their children to look at them, look at the division, and be extremely proud of their 1 year achievement.
Yes. I am looking forward to see what the new food box will entail and so on, because I am one of those that really think it is an outstanding initiative, annexed to so many other things that you're doing. I wanted to, this slipped me, but I could jump back to it. There's so many incentive programs that you do at the division.
Oh, so yes.
Maybe you could, let's talk a little bit about some of those.
So a lot of the farmers, I guess because there was just a little bit of miscommunication, because I realized that the incentives under the division, they don't print them out and give them to the farmers. Okay. So what I asked communications to do is to start off the year again by, having that discussion in the media as to the whole list of incentives. Now, all except one of the incentives, they are based on a rebate system.
Okay.
Why it is a rebate system? Sometimes people come and they ask for money. And then they don't buy what you tell them to buy, or what they say they want to buy.
Money don't scare them.
And somebody somewhere in their wisdom said, look, if people are serious, right, they would make the initial investment, and once we come and we see you put up your fence, or you buy a particular equipment, you will get a rebate. Right? So they developed rebates for livestock, right? Even security cameras. People saying, why the division don't give us security? But you can make your investment and get your rebate.
Right. And I think that helps. That helps to to assist.
You're building your chicken pen and you want to be part of TADCO's initiative. You will get a rebate. Plus, you're getting the chicks and the feed for free. You're getting a guaranteed market because they're not buying it back. So you have the support from the division and you have the support from TADCO. So there are so many incentives for post-harvesting, even agro-processing. If you want to refurbish your home, for example, to just process a particular product, right? Let's use an example. If you're doing pepper sauce, but you're growing peppers, there's a rebate system, 50%, right? So if you're doing HACCP upgrades, in terms of standards, you will get a rebate once you make the investment. Packaging material, you get a rebate. Even when you purchase your vehicle for agricultural purposes, you get a rebate. So there are probably 100. The only one, it is a grant. The new Youth in Agriculture grant, right? And you must be 18 to 40 years old to access that grant, right? So that's a different type of arrangement. But other than that grant, everything else you get a rebate. So don't be afraid to invest in your fencing. And then if you have your farmer's badge, you can go and purchase equipment anywhere and you still get a percentage off of the equipment. You go to TADCO and you're buying feed for any other purpose other than the poultry contract initiative, you're getting a percentage off.
And I think that is
you're renting equipment from the Division of Food Security and you have your food badge, you get a percentage off.
I think that we have to, because I guess too, Secretary, because the whole agricultural landscape has not been formalized and is not an intrinsic part of the community, let me put it that way. And its importance has not taken center stage as it should. So people have not been treating it with the kind of respect and the discipline that is required.
Yes.
Because when you know, you and I know that when somebody might genuinely come to you and say, I need money for this project,
money for this.
and something happened,
yes.
You understand?
Yeah.
And they
no, but somebody in Port of Spain did that to me, you know. He came to me and he said, Miss Pantin, I'm suffering at this, that, the other. I want something to eat. And I said, where you going and buy the thing to eat? He said, right over there. I said, sure, yes. When I gave him the money, he went in the next direction. I was so ashamed. I got conned.
Yeah. But yeah, and I mean, the truth is that life is so volatile that sometimes you don't plan stuff, and when you have money in your hand, you will choose what becomes a priority after they leave the office. But again, this system, the rebate system, assists the individuals in getting them to do due diligence. So you understand, it might be hard, but that really is going to help them to get done that which they want done. So I applaud that system. I really applaud.
Yes, the rebate system it's a good system, right? If you're embarking on getting perhaps any sort of equipment or vehicle, you're getting the rebate. It's a sure thing. Everything, your fencing, if goat and sheep, if you're importing embryos per year, you're getting imagine when you're importing semen and all for your livestock, you're getting a rebate, right? Pigs, if you're doing housing, infrastructure, waste disposal, you're getting a rebate. Rabbits, the housing, everything, you're getting rebates. Yes, get the initial investment. But if you want a grant, you have an opportunity. If you're if you're 18 to 40 years old, you can access that grant as well to start up. But NAMDEFCO has a grant for $100,000. But currently, we don't have the allocation in Tobago, right? You apply for the grant, they will come up from Trinidad, do their assessment, and then you may or may not qualify. But I wish I could have access to that, so that the division can handle its own affairs. Even in the eradication of the giant African snail.
Yes, I was about to come.
And that is an emergency situation, right? I think I was advised by technical officers about $4 million was allocated nationally for the eradication of the giant African snail. But the allocation, it doesn't come to Tobago. Tobago share,
but what's the situation with that in the Tobago space though? What's up with the snail and so on? What's happening with it?
Right. So Ms. Kun is leading a team, but she proposed setting up a task force, which we approved at Executive Council. So the task force will increase efforts towards eradicating the snail. It's about 9 sites that they identified the snail currently. But it's so easy to transfer soil from one point to the other that you can transfer the giant African snail from one site very easily. And I know that that unit and the home gardening unit, they have all been working together to ensure that we contain the situation. But remember, we have the port. So as vehicles come up, the snail could attach itself under the cars and come into Tobago, right? I know some parts of Trinidad, they're having a lot of challenges because the snail destroys all the crops, right? And of course, it kind of, interfere with your health. It affects, So we definitely need money towards, creating that task force to support, the division in its eradication efforts.
Somebody say here, and this is vintage Eric Powder, that once his semen rebate is not a rebate, it's a tax break. Good night, Mr. Powder. Good night. Lord. Secretary P, I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation and interaction. So much information has been put into the public space and so on, and we have to continue to put the information out there religiously, so that persons can understand that there are these benefits if you get into the mix and so on, and you can take advantage of those benefits. What are your Final thoughts as we come down to the close of the program tonight.
Well, I have said so much. I don't know which thought I can label as final. But in developing Tobago, we have to support one another.
Yes.
It's not about Miss Pantin's achievement at all, right? And Miss Pantin cannot do it without the support of the Executive Council. She cannot do it without the support of the division staff. She cannot do it without the support of the staff of all the other divisions. And I think, we are creative people, and we need to come together and look at it as not one individual's achievement, but the achievement of all of us.
Yes.
We have to become our own ambassadors. We have to be the ones out there saying we have a good product in Tobago. And the constant undermining and public embarrassment, right? It does nothing for the reputation of Tobagonians, especially Tobagonians living abroad and benefiting from other societies.
Yes.
So we have to understand that we have to do it together and to bring Tobago back to, that place where we can now, travel the world and say, I am from Tobago and I am proud to be a Tobagonian.
Indeed, indeed. Proper said, man. Proper said, proper said, proper said. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come down to the end of another Full Disclosure program, and I think that we have had an extensive conversation tonight, useful information. I am particularly encouraged of the direction that the division is going in and so on. And a senior man told me many years ago, when you are informed, you are better able to perform. So I encourage you to those of you that are involved in farming, have an inclination, those of you who want to start up and all of that, just get involved and get whatever information you need and so on, so that we can continue this march towards food security here in Tobago, and by extension anywhere else we can give support. I am Secretary Terence Baines, and we want to thank you, those of you who are with us here online religiously. We have the usual suspects who are always online. We thank you for being with us tonight as well, and we trust that you have a good night, and we shall be back again next week, God's willing. Take care. On behalf of Ms. Pantin and myself, God bless you. See you soon.